Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
Good morning to you. It is Coffee Ann time on ON, AM, and FM, as per usual, on a Monday morning here at 8 in the morning, and I'm Joe Callahan. That's Dave Richards right over there.
I am. What do you
know?
know?
Good morning to you there, Dave. Thanks for joining us here on the Coffee Ann program. A little later on today, we're going to be joined by Woonsocket mayoral candidate and the current Woonsocket City Council President, John Ward. Purchasing time here on the Coffee Ann program. He'll be here between 8:30 for 8:30 and be here for two segments of Coffee Ann, 8:30 all the way to 9 o'clock. So we'll be talking
He
with
could
John.
actually come in early and talk about tonight's meeting too, and still have it valid.
Yeah, we could do that as well. So that'll be a good thing. So it's me and Dave going forward right now. So
what a revolting development this is.
So we'll start off with the. Got a note called in real early, 766-1240.
First, we do want to apologize to the person who called in a request just before 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
We just weren't able to get that up on the air. Sorry about that, but we'll be happy to play it after the Coffee Ann show.
We'll get it during the 9 o'clock hour. Right.
Well, it'll actually be after food first.
Well, it's still the 9 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was week one of the NFL season. And
I knew you were going to talk sports.
Well, the Patriots won, and we got a note called in, 766-1240.
okay.
Someone just called in a refreshing surprise with the Patriots' victory. Made my day. So
good.
There you go.
Enjoy it while you can.
So they won 16-10 yesterday. Really stunned the Cincinnati Bengals. And I heard one of the so-called experts, and maybe they were right this time around when they said, the Bengals, when they looked at their schedule. Well, we had the Patriots first, but geez, look who we have second, Kansas City Chiefs. That's who we're really going to concentrate on because the Patriots are nothing. And they looked past them and went...
Kind of like what the Red Sox did yesterday with the White Sox.
Oh, yeah, they're nothing. We can get by these guys. So.
Yeah, right.
One of the good things I saw from yesterday's game, Dave, with Jacoby Brissett.
Because Cincinnati really gave them gifts all day long.
Yeah, they
thank you cards should be going out from the Patriots to Cincinnati all day long.
And I don't get it. I don't know why they played so lousy.
Gift after gift.
But anyway, but one of the best things about it was Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. And, when he would get into...
They didn't kill him.
A little trouble, he was able to get out of the way. And he moved, slide to the side, and he ran a little, and he threw downfield and like that. And I'm thinking,
saw him take a nasty hit
if
one
this
time,
was,
though.
but if this was last year and it was still Mac Jones, he'd be falling down. It would have been a completely different game. Yep.
Oh, you mean that he would just protect the ball and go to his
and fall down and say, "Oh, I got nothing. I'm not going to do anything. Oh, I'm gonna."
Don't hit me! Don't hit me!
Please
don't
hurt me! So that's what I thought was.
Where
the
is
difference.
Mac Jones these days? Is he enjoying?
No, he's in Florida.
He was traded somewhere?
He's a backup quarterback with Jacksonville. I might not be.
Jacksonville and Miami played each other in an all-Florida game.
Or was it Tennessee? Anyway, he's down south somewhere.
Yeah.
So, but he's a backup down there. So we'll see if anything.
Hey, it's better than being unemployed, right?
Yeah, and Bailey Zappi's going too. I don't know if you heard that.
I didn't know that.
He went to Kansas City and he's on their practice squad. So I guess that's where he is. So anyway, it was a nice win yesterday, and people can say, "Oh, it was a stunning victory! Can't believe it!"
Come on!
And I even looked at, because I like to do this. I go to the websites of the team we just played, newspapers, and this is a Cincinnati Enquirer.
What a revolting development!
They said we can't believe we lost to such a lousy team, meaning the Patriots.
Yeah,
Patriots are a terrible team. Well, what's that make us? Good point.
Well,
if we're so bad,
the Patriots,
and we lost to you.
The Patriots have not found their stride yet.
Well, neither has anybody.
With all of the changes, right?
Well, yeah, that's right.
And so I like to look at it this way. When I hear sports announcers saying things like, well, out of 54 guys, 28 of them are new. Mm-hmm. And they all work for the offense because that's where we need the help. And the defense did pretty well yesterday.
Yes, they did.
Because
I really
they
thought we were
kept
going to shut them
Cincinnati
out.
off the board past halftime. Am I right?
Yeah, it was 10-0 at the half. So that was great. You're right. New head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator.
Stability there.
So there's a lot of new there.
Yeah.
So, and and Gerard Mayo, and loved him as a player, and he was great as the linebacker coach.
He ain't
But
bad
this-
on a BLT either.
But this is this is his first time coaching as a head coach anywhere.
Yeah.
And usually you go up the ranks. Let's start in the high school, then we go to college, and
Yeah.
then we move on. And he jumped right in. So congratulations to him on his first victory. Tough game next week when when the Seattle Seahawks come to town, and that'll
They've
be the
got a
home
good
opener.
ball club, huh?
They won.
They have
They
a
won,
mature
they
ball
won
club.
yesterday.
Seattle does, right?
Yes. So they'll be at Foxborough, 1:00 game this coming Sunday. I
And the
thought
Seattle guys can get charged 4% more for state tax.
that's so silly. Anyway,
Can you imagine that? A state rep comes up in front of the microphone and says, "You quit your whining.
Whining,
With
yeah.
all that money, you got to quit your whining."
Yeah, I don't know. I really thought we were going to be standing alone in first place because the Buffalo Bills were losing 17-3,
Oh.
and Miami was losing 14-0 at one point. I'm like, we could be 1-0, everyone else 0-1, and the Jets not
In
playing
our division,
yet. I said,
is
how
what you
great
said.
would that be? But Buffalo really came storming back and won, and Miami won on a last-second field goal. So we're all 1-0 except for the Jets, who haven't played yet. So they're 0-0. So, but hey, first place is first place, and we'll take it. So congratulations to the New England Patriots. And as I heard, what I see, watching Christian Fourier after the game, boy, that plane ride home, they'll be tipping back a few champagne drinks
you
on the
think
way
so?
back
Yeah,
on that
could
plane
be.
ride. They will be celebrating like
A
crazy.
lot of serious
So,
athletes don't really drink much.
No, not
You
the
know,
real.
you might see them
not-
if they
not
win
like
a
the old
title,
days.
you know.
Yeah.
But a lot of it goes on the
No.
uniforms, on the walls, spraying at other people's heads and stuff like that. They don't. Yeah, it's been my experience. There's an awful lot of professional athletes who take their business seriously, and they just don't drink that much.
Well, the days of Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford and
Yeah.
Billy Martin
Right.
going out and drinking whiskey and,
Right.
and Jack Daniels
Hot
all
shots.
night long.
Yeah.
Those days you don't hear of those days anymore of the hard drinking athlete.
Right, yeah.
So champagne, yeah, they might have done that as well. So, all right, so congratulations to them. Moving on, last Friday night was
Red
the
Sox won.
well, they
twice.
They won.
And they lost yesterday.
2 out of 3 against the Chicago White Sox. So,
2 out of 3
yeah,
against Chicago.
Yeah, not good. And I don't know why they
Chicago, the
struggle
team
with them so
that's
much.
put together double-digit losing streaks all season long.
And they're in triple digits with losses.
Yeah.
So it's not good. They had a new pitcher, called up from AAA, started yesterday, and he did fine.
Nice.
Did 5 2/3 innings and gave up like 6 hits and no runs. And
then what
he did great.
happened?
Well, then they brought in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And they lost. So, oh well. But moving on Friday was the Autumn Fest Comedy Fundraiser.
Yeah,
at,
I was out of town. You went
at the Elks.
represented us there, and
And I was so happy. There was such a good crowd.
yeah,
And a crowd that was there to have a good time, to be there.
they were in the right
and,
mood for
and
it.
to
huh?
laugh, except for one lady who was just out of control.
What do you mean?
But there was only one. What do I mean?
out of control?
Heckling. And
Heckling?
not heckling like, oh, you're a lousy, oh, that wasn't funny. She was trying to, I think, just trying to improve the act, and
You're kidding.
and the comedian took care of her pretty good. He was pretty funny with it, and even some guy that was sitting like behind her,
Yeah.
and she was nearby where I was, and he even said to her, all right, that's enough out of you. Which I thought was great. But that was about it. And it was funny because the owner of
This
Funny
ain't
for
the
Funds,
opera, folks.
yeah, the Funny for Funds guy, that he was the owner and the headline comedian. I talked to him afterwards, and he even said at top, he goes, we tell comedians that are part of his group, come do fundraisers like this, because it's not like being at a comedy club,
Right.
where people are really drinking.
Yeah.
It's much more subdued. They're there for the show, and so you really don't deal with hecklers. And here we go. Here I am
Do
lying.
you think alcohol was part of this lady's
Yes,
behavior?
yes, I do.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, I do. So, but anyway, he did take care of her pretty easily.
Bug Dog
that
Barbecue was
cute.
in the parking lot. Did he? I hope.
and
that,
they did so well.
Bug did well. Yeah.
Yeah, because I got there a little after 5, and there was just a line when I got there,
Ooh.
and there was a line till about 6:10 when he said, they even kept making mentions, Bug's going to be here for another 10 minutes. Okay, he's only here for another 5. He's running out of food. If you want to get out there and see what he's got left. So I saw a lot of pulled pork sandwiches, and I saw a lot of, I guess he does nachos.
Yeah.
And that was another big favorite.
Oh, the pulled pork nachos.
That might have been it as well. So, and that was it. But by 6:10, he was done. And
Nice.
he had to go. So they did very well, and I hear people had loved the deliciousness of that as well.
So the jokes were good.
The jokes were good.
The crowd was great.
The crowd, yep.
They had a little silent auction there.
And yeah, the Funny for Funds people bring the silent auction, and they had trips. They must have had 7 or 8 different trips that you could go to that were giving you hotel rooms, like 4 days and 3 nights. So it was Nashville and New Orleans and Orlando and Vegas and Cancun.
Right.
And then there were a few other places, as Montreal, a few other places you could go to as well. They were very specific in saying this is not a timeshare.
Right.
We're not trying to sell you anything.
Right.
It's just, here's the hotel. You could get it at a discounted rate if than you would normally get. You have to get there. Travel is up to you, but this is what you can get the 3-day hotel at. And so that went very well. And they had raffle items were there. So I tried my hand at that and lost.
Oh, well.
But that's the way it goes. But at the end of the night,
it's a fundraiser.
it is a fundraiser. And at the end of the night, they told you how much money was raised. That Autumn Fest cleared after all expenses were paid and after the Elks were taken care of and all that. How much money was given to Autumn Fest by
nice.
Funny for Funds? $3,371
Wow.
was cleared right to Autumn Fest.
Well, that beats all heck out of a tag day.
Yes, it does. We'd have to be there all day for tag
those
day.
aren't nearly so profitable these days.
Well, it's,
I mean, they used to be,
but
they're not
people just
anymore.
don't carry change or dollar
That's right.
bills around with them anymore.
That's
If
right.
they do, they want to hang on to them. And,
That's
and if you're out there at tag day, you can't be out there with your little square.
Yeah, that's right. And
Trying to
tap me $10.
That's right.
Tap me,
They just don't want to do it.
No.
So what do you do? You got to come up with a different kind of fundraiser kind of thing. So this is what we came up with. And I did speak to Stephanie Santoro afterwards. She's the general chairperson of Autumn Fest.
Yeah.
Stephanie, what do you think? You consider it a success? Absolutely. 100% successful.
Good.
We think it's so good that next year they may even do it twice. And so, you try something to see if it works. Usually the next time you do it, it's a little bigger because by word of mouth and people like us talking about it, Dave, how much fun it was and how much money was raised. Hey, let's do this again, and maybe we can make even more money. We were right to tell people that it was an 18 and over show.
Yeah.
Well, can't tell you some of the jokes.
It was really
done.
an 18 and over show.
It was for an 18 over crowd,
Oh,
but the crowd really loved it.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what they thought it was going to be. And they told you, the Funny for Funds people, they say we do church shows. We like almost half our shows are for church organizations.
Right.
As long as we know who we're playing to,
Right.
we change the act.
Oh, sure.
And we said, church show, okay, it's completely clean for that group. But they said, when we got together with Stephanie and Lee and the others for Autumn Fest, said, no, let's make it 18 plus. Okay, and that's what they wanted to do. So that's what they that's what they ran with. So it was really, and
I'm so happy. I was bummed out I couldn't go.
and the 3 committees they were all from Rhode Island. One from Warwick, one from Johnston, one just said he was from Rhode Island. He didn't say specifically what town.
He didn't show an ID card?
No.
He might have been an interloper from Connecticut.
Maybe. He said he just moved back from Seattle.
Oh,
and,
I see.
And then the MC, he was from Southern Maine. So, and talk about busy. When the show was over, I went to go run to look for these guys, and I couldn't find them. All I saw was the headliner, who was the owner of Funny for Funds. I said, where'd the other comedians go? Well, the guy from Maine had to get back. I mean, it's at least a 2-hour drive.
Right.
And the other 2 had other shows
They
to get to. They had
night.
other gigs to get to
Right.
that night. I'm like, oh, so they had to go. So we appreciated having them there. And if we do this fundraiser again, I suggest you come on out because it was a real good time.
I'll be there.
And so and the Elks did well at the bar.
Oh, well, that's all part of it, isn't it?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. All right, we're going to take our first break here on the Coffee and program, but more coming your way. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240.
Hi, this is John Ward, candidate for mayor of Woonsocket. Early voting has begun and primary day is just around the corner. I'm asking for your vote whether you choose to vote early or on primary day. Don't wait until November to start making a change. Being the mayor of Woonsocket is no place for on-the-job training. Now more than ever, experience matters. When city government is working well, it's a challenging job that often stays off the front page in TV news. Day-to-day tasks like picking up trash, plowing streets, maintaining clean and attractive parks, providing essential services like clean water and emergency response all get done quietly and efficiently, and we must always respect and appreciate those who perform these valuable services for us. An experienced mayor also has the time and ability to work effectively with our state and federal representatives, community partners, and residents to improve our city and ensure the good delivery of other services and improvements for our city. It's time to move on from the legacy of backdoor deals and mismanagement. Our current mayor, who was handpicked by the former mayor and never elected to the mayor's office, has continued down the same path with some of the same people. We need a change from this approach that values loyalty over integrity. We still don't know the full impact of the former part-time Human Service Director's careless exposure of private information, but it's clear we cannot afford more of the same. I'm asking for your vote on primary day, Tuesday, September the 10th. Every single vote on that day will be crucial to get the change in motion. Please visit my website at wardformayor.org for more information. It's time for a new direction, one where experience and integrity matter. I'm John Ward, and I'm respectfully asked for your vote for mayor of Woonsocket. Let's turn our city around together. Thank you.
Paid for Friends of John Ward.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON Radio.
Thanks for joining us on ON Radio. It is Coffee and we'll be hearing from John Ward. He'll be joining us at 8:30
in person.
One more thing I wanted to say about the comedy fundraiser, Dave. The comedian from Johnston had a disability all his life.
Yeah,
he was deaf.
Right,
and he finally got some kind of medical implantation, and he didn't start hearing until he was 40.
Well, that'll help.
Yes. And he said, now growing up, it's like when people are legally blind, they can't see you, but they can see shapes. And he talked about growing up, he could hear things, but couldn't make out what it actually was. And so, but now he can. And it's just, so a lot of his act was talking about trying to dealing with his disability growing up, and how his parents were mean to him with the presents they gave him. They gave me a Walkman. Without headphones. So it was stuff, and since he was laughing at it, that gives permission for the crowd to just laugh along at the disability, which was great. All right, other things going on. Let's see now. Where was it? The Department of Education not happy, Dave. I see with the bus service now. Does DATCO handle every school district?
Well, no.
Statewide?
No, it's...
or is this just Providence?
There are basically two players.
Okay, yeah.
And that's another matter for me to sound off on. But there are two players statewide in the school bus business. DATCO and First Student.
Right.
First Student has experienced some labor unrest. There's other reasons why... I mean, anybody that you deal with as a vendor may have an upside and a downside, or several downsides, or whatever. But you're basically dealing with two. First Student got replaced for cause with DATCO, which is completely incapable of taking on the amount of business that it has generated.
That's, the first thing they tell you in business is, you don't overpromise and underdeliver.
Well,
which is what they've done.
Yeah. Now, here's the view from somebody who doesn't work for a school department, just listens to the gossip and stuff like that, and I hear things that people say. It's like this. DATCO is stuck with success that they didn't plan for.
Okay.
And they can't deal with it fast enough. They're getting too much business because their competitor has lost business through their own actions. So there you go. So when you only have two, and one of them isn't the favored one, the one that is the favored one better snap up real fast, but can't because the first one is holding a lot of the resources and stuff. And so, okay, fine. Moving along, that's the way I hears it. Datco is not being, not having a good ride of it. They can't seem to get drivers. They're disorganized. They can't step up to the business that they're writing. Now, I alluded to a comment about the fact that there are basically two big players, and I say this because I want to get the chance to say every time I hear about a problem with a school bus service in Woonsocket, I immediately have this reaction in my brain because of my experiences in life and what I've seen and my opinions based on those experiences. I have a good friend in life, Bill Legary. Mm-hmm. He's a friend to a lot of people. He's a good man. Bill ran the school bus service in Woonsocket, busted his hump to do a good job. Bill got stabbed in the back, and some couple of people on the school committee back then got it in their mind and managed to sell it to the rest, or enough of the rest to have a vote, that, oh, well, you know, he's just a small fry. He just does Woonsocket. He can't do the things we want to have done. Let's go with a bigger company that's more powerful, has more resources, et cetera, like that.
And that was First Student, right?
I think it was First Student, the first one we went to.
Okay.
But that's not important to the story.
All right.
The story was we had a local guy that busted his hump to do this right. And he ended up being victimized, in my opinion, from what I was seeing. And he didn't complain, by the way. He didn't complain. He says, this is life, this is business, this is the way it goes. Mm-hmm. But he got replaced when he was doing a fine job. And it was, they replaced him with companies that didn't care, didn't feel responsible to the city, didn't feel what Bill did about service. I mean, Bill Legary got up and ran school bus runs if he was short on help. The owner of the company did it. You don't see that with Datco or First Student. Mm-hmm. And I dare say you wouldn't see it with any large company, you know? But Bill Legary and his family got out and did the business that was necessary to satisfy their pledge to the city. I always thought that Bill got the raw end of the stick, and that the school committee at that time, which was the beginning of the school committees that started overspending and throwing the city into the budget commission and all the rest of that it was all the school committee's fault, that shame on them, and I always felt that way. And if I'm wrong, shame on me, but that's what I think I saw, and that's what I think I know, and that's what my opinion is.
Do the school committees have to go with what the Department of Education is saying that they have to use?
No.
You have to use DATCO? You have to use First Students? That's who we have contracts
with?
with?
The Rhode Island Department of Education runs the Providence school system. They just reaffirmed it last week.
Right.
The Providence says, we want to take control back in the Rhode Island Department of Education. And Helica Infante Green, commander, said, we think we're going to run it a little while longer. They are being victimized the same way Woonsocket's been victimized here in the first week of school. Only their first week of school was 1 week later than ours. We got victimized first.
Now, she's saying that DATCO has a few more days to deliver. I don't know what a few more days is. And so,
she's talking tough.
Right. And they have the right to end the contract. So if they end the contract with DATCO,
they do.
What do they just switch back to First Student?
Well, yeah. See, this is it.
I mean, who do you go to?
I mean, yeah, right. You know what? They don't have good choices.
Yeah.
When there's only two, you really don't have good choices anyway. But did you read the story, Joe, that they had the contract with DATCO and they said Arrivederci Roma to First Student, and then DATCO says, "Oh man, we can't do all this.
Do it all, yeah.
Oh, we're not going to be able. Like, there's 24 routes that they couldn't cover, and that Providence, to their credit, swallowed their pride and went to First Student and said, we know we gave you the bum's rush and we don't have a contract with you.
But please help
Will
us.
you fill in the gaps here? Can you help us out because the people we went to can't do it? And they made a deal with First Student for what First Student could do for them. So, I mean,
Okay.
swallowing your pride like that after you change vendors and go back to the old vendor, says, our new vendor can't handle it. Will you do this for us? Takes a big person. Mm-hmm. It really does. Your average person would not want to do that.
Okay. I wonder if they would look over in Massachusetts. There's a school bus company over there called Ryder. They might
Have no idea.
Michael Ryder. They might be able to help, but who knows? Maybe their buses they're all taken. We already have all our routes
Well,
that we
there you go.
can't handle. We don't have any left over just hanging
if
around.
I understand the business pretty well, most of the time they lease buses.
Yeah.
They own a few, and they lease what they need so that if their business grows or shrinks, they can grow and shrink their fleet with little consequence. The financial consequences are less. That's what I'm thinking, because school buses are so expensive.
I wonder or if.
But I thought that Telstone was still running buses up in Massachusetts too, and they're local.
Yeah. Okay.
But I could be wrong. That could be old news for me.
I wonder if Peter Pan wants to get involved. Peter Pan bus.
Oh, they know when they got it good. They don't want to get into school.
I
bus
know
business.
they're perfect with what they're doing. We run to Boston. We run to New York City.
Yeah, right.
We're very happy with that.
And Peter Pan is so not local now. I think they're run out of Washington D.C.
I know, but they got their
Well, they got
place
their
in
satellites.
Pawtucket.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to pick up a few extra bucks on the side?
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to say no, but no, that's okay. All right. Other things. Let's see. Other things that are going on. What is it? Newport that wants to put in a proposed cruise fee for
Oh, they already
boats
have
that.
that.
That are dock.
Any port that a large cruise ship goes to has to get permission from the harbor master in that port.
Yeah.
And that's basically the representative of government for ocean-going vessel. They have to get permission to come and anchor there and discharge passengers and do business and things like that. That's a legal contract. Perhaps I remember when it first started happening, it was like the most wonderful thing in the world. Newport sent out the world. They sent a bus up to Woonsocket to grab people to come down and go on to the cruise ship. Mm-hmm. Seriously. There were groups. They would go to the Kiwanis. They would go to a church group and stuff like, come on, get on the bus, come down and take a look at the cruise ship and the cruise line while their passengers were discharged in Newport. Entertained the people. I was on one of those little junkets, and to show what a beautiful cruise ship they have. And by the way, here's a little card if you want to take a cruise with us, and that sort of thing like that. Well, it's all business, right?
Sure it is.
And there's nothing wrong with it. It's all on the up and up. And I remember when it first started, it was like once in a blue moon. Oh, look, it's a cruise ship. we weren't getting any of that business in Newport. But it caught on. And so you see most of the summertime, you will see a cruise ship in Newport for most all the time, with very few gaps. And so they're saying, well, we were very low on our fees to encourage this, but now that more and more people are coming in, perhaps we should charge a little more.
Looks like that's what they want to do. All right, we're going to take a break here in the Coffee and program. John Ward is here, so we're going to bring John in just a second here. Time for a look at the forecast being brought to you by Bank of America.
Sunny skies today with a high of 73 and a breeze in the west. Tonight, partly cloudy, overnight low of 54. Tuesday's weather, sunshine in 76. Wednesday, sunshine in 79. Thursday, sunny skies in 84. Friday, sunshine in 86. Saturday, mostly sunny skies in 85. And on Sunday, mostly sunny, high of 79 degrees.
Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with sunny skies, we have 60 degrees. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America N.A., copyright 2024.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Are you looking for solutions to meet your business banking needs? At Milford Federal, the longest standing community bank in the area, they offer customized solutions for commercial lending, cash management, online banking, and payment processing services. Their business banking team is committed to the growth and success of your business with local decision making and a relationship-based approach. Let Milford Federal be your banking partner. Visit them at milfordfederal.com today. Milford Federal Bank, our community, your bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, and MLS number 465956.
Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan. Dave Richards is here as well, and John Ward is here. And this segment of Coffee In is sponsored by the Friends of John Ward, because you're running for mayor. Isn't that correct, John?
Wow.
Yes, how about that?
Fascinating.
Would you like to make an opening statement?
I should make an opening statement
Well, you
instead of
could.
sounding like I'm confused and baffled. It is Monday morning, but that's not an excuse. I'm going to make an opening statement by starting to say what I so often forget to say.
Okay.
That there is a John Ward for Mayor Facebook page, and there is a website, wardformayor.org. So people can go check out things. I ran a series of 10 advertisements in the Valley Breeze that hit on 10 different topics. So I've got all my advertisements in there. I've got some radio work in there, some radio ads in there for people that can listen to, some issue statements and articles from newspapers, and discusses some of the matters that are confronting the city and my opinion about them, a little bit about my history, about my family, and all of the things you would expect to find on a web page, including an opportunity to donate, which would be very helpful as we move from the primary into the final campaign push for November, because I have a system where people can make contributions electronically using credit cards, and if they choose to, it would be very helpful, even small amounts. Or if they want to help contribute to the campaign, they could just send along a check to 166 Getchell Avenue, checks made out to Friends of John Ward. And there's my promotional pitch at the beginning of the section, so I don't forget to do it at the end.
Smart man.
As I so often do. But there are things to talk about. Tomorrow is primary day. This is the last day for early voting. And I hope for those people who want to avoid, although I don't expect long lines, primary vote elections are not generally high attendance matters, but this one may be unusually higher than normal because we have a couple of competitive races going on in the city. In the General Assembly races, with Brian Thompson running for Roger Pickard's Senate seat, and he's really energized that campaign and made it a higher visibility than so often may happen. And then, of course, the competition between Garrett Manseri and Bob Phillips, running for the same rep seat, which is going to increase interest and may bring out more people in the East Woonsocket side of the city.
Then there's that little thing for mayor.
Pardon me?
Then there's that little thing for mayor.
Well, there is the little thing for mayor, too. There are 3 of us currently, and that needs to be whittled down to 2. But I guess my point is, though, with those rep seats actually being the final deciding vote,
Yeah.
for those 2 situations,
Because
both
there's no
of those
opposition.
primaries are the election because there's no opposition come November, as opposed to Melissa Murray having opposition in November, and
And yourself.
John Brian having opposition in November. The mayor's race will be up in November, so we expect there will be 10,000 plus people coming out to vote
There's
in the
also in
presidential
November there's
election
that little
year.
thing about the president.
That's gonna get some attention too.
Right,
But that
so-
always drives the numbers up in November. But I think it'll be a good primary turnout tomorrow because of the
The state.
those state races that are being finally decided effectively during tomorrow's vote.
John, we had to laugh because the story in last week's Valley Breeze classified all 3 mayoral candidates as Democrats.
Indeed. I saw that.
So did you chuckle to yourself?
I
when
chuckled.
You saw it
As a
and
matter
said,
of fact,
"Oh, we'll
my
just-"
brother Tom is out touring the western part of the country, visiting national parks, visiting with my son,
Okay.
who's stationed out in the Central Valley in California. Just got a picture back from there.
It's a little warm out there.
And even he chuckled
Did he?
from the West Coast because he noticed it, pointed
Right
it out
away.
to me.
Okay.
My brother Vinny called me. Did you know that you're a Democrat now? And I sort of chuckled, but it's like, what am I gonna do? Just let it go. It's
Well-
even though it's on the electronic version,
Yeah.
it's printed, so it's not like I can correct it
Right.
on the
Right.
printed paper. So why bother?
I mean, they can put in a retraction.
The
but for
point
this coming
they
Thursday,
can
but if
correct
they pass
it.
the,
Yeah, it's past the primary.
primary, so why
It's-
bother?
it is what it is. I'm not too worried about it. And if they want to go back and check my record, I think back when I was between the ages of 20 and 30, at some point in there, I was actually registered as a Democrat. So
Did you vote for Jimmy Carter?
no, I did not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which election?
The first one
No.
in 76.
Ask me about the second one.
The second one.
No.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
By the time the second one came along, Mr. Reagan was rolling.
Yes.
and I didn't vote for Mr. Reagan in this in
Oh, you didn't?
1980.
Who,
No,
John Anderson?
I voted for John Anderson. Yes, I
that
tend to
so?
have an independence.
rebel.
I'm a rebel. I tend to have an independent streak in me. I demand higher things, and too often the opposite end parties tend to throw out rhetoric that has me feeling ill at ease after I've had a meal because of trying to swallow some of the stuff they throw around. And so, yeah, I voted for John Anderson.
Then you're right at home in a city that has nonpartisan elections.
Yes. I feel very comfortable
and for
with
those
that.
who aren't up on that bit, who are listening to our discussion might not understand, especially from other towns, Woonsocket has by charter non-partisan elections. It has nothing to do with your party, where you're running the individual each time. And so, given your point of view, you fit right in here.
And I even voted for Ross Perot, not for George Bush, the first time he ran, because of the same reasons. And there was this independent streak in me that says some of what goes on in Washington needs to be stopped, not done.
Some of what goes on in parties.
Yeah, because of the parties. And
Well, look over the weekend, John, and this is your time, so please don't let me
Don't worry, I
get you
won't.
into anything that you don't want to talk about. But I was listening to the news on our radio over the weekend, and the big story was about the Cheneys, who are Republicans, and they said, nah, I can't. And they said, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris. And Kamala Harris said in Pittsburgh, I think she was in, when she said,
Thank you.
Well, that's really nice. Thank you. And
yeah,
they're Republicans. I mean, he was a Republican vice president. For Pete's sake.
I can speculate about this. She's probably saying it, but she's not really feeling it. It's it's one thing to say I'm not voting for Trump like the Cheneys did,
Yeah.
but I was watching Liz Cheney on, I forget which show it was she was being interviewed on.
Okay.
Might have been the ABC show, this Sunday morning show, and she was being interviewed, and she did that this person individually represents a threat to democracy, and I'm getting so tired of hearing that threat to democracy thing.
right.
Like somehow somebody's going to let him take over the government, and I'm sorry, as much as the appointments to the Supreme Court are of Republican presidencies and Trump's presidency, I can say without hesitation that listening to and watching some of the decisions that have been handed down, written by Neil Gorsuch and written by Amy Coney Barrett and written by John Roberts, that I'm sorry, they understand the Constitution, and no president's going to walk in and assert authority over something for which they have no authority, whether it's the guy that nominated them for appointment or not. That's just not how the Supreme Court works. And no military, despite the president being commander-in-chief, if there is something egregiously in violation of individuals' constitutional rights, is going to go out and start enforcing things that are not in step with the way our government in our country operates. I just don't believe it. And I think that too many people would have too much to say and it would get shut down instantly.
All right. So
And of course, we have to know that if Trump does get elected again, the impeachment proceedings will start immediately.
No, of course, yes.
well, bringing it back
Either
to
way.
bringing it back to the city
Yes,
of
the
Woonsocket.
city.
In a few sentences, tell us.
Well, that'll be unusual for me.
I'll try your best. What makes you different from your other two opponents?
Okay. It really comes down, and I've said it since the beginning. We both claim experience, but I contend my experience is a better experience to serve the needs of the city of Woonsocket right now. You know, there's times when you need a salesman. There's times when you need a mechanic. Well, there's times when you need an experienced manager who has had now 30 years experience managing both financial, not just financial operations, but general management and developing policies and procedures. And for instance, one of the things I know that's being considered to be brought up as a negative in my experience was the fact, and I mentioned the last time, the fact that we had somebody who was skimming money off of one of the accounts, but it was actually my annual
In Lincoln.
analysis. They've been indicted and they're in trial now. That's not been finalized. So I can't say they've been convicted, but that person is dealing with the court system and the Attorney General's office. But the fact is, the positive of that is the fact that it was my annual analysis of accounts as we were preparing for the audit that picked up on it, saw the long-term, a couple-of-year trend, spread it out to analysis over multiple years, found the deficiency, found the shortcoming in the cash account, and reported it to the town administrator, who took action administratively. We collected enough data so we could have it audited, brought to the state police, and it has proceeded from there. So I consider, though it's unfortunate that it happened, and it's unfortunate that it wasn't picked up sooner, it is very fortunate that standard analytical procedures and proper process brought us to an outcome that served to improve the operation of the town government, as well as to hold the person accountable, contrary to some of the choices made by the current mayor in holding accountability as a standard by which you operate. I prefer to think of ethical accountability as something that's important, and my experience tells me that would better serve Woonsocket at this time to get us out of, and I know people talk about saying get away from, stop dealing with the past, stop dealing with the past. Well, I don't want to forget the past. I want to use the past as the basis for how we change the way we direct the city and manage its operations, so that we do it at a higher ethical principles and a more accountable managerial operation that benefits both the city and its employees in getting the job done well.
All right, so that's
Small difference.
That's your difference between you and Chris Beauchamp. From what you know of Keith Harrison, what
Same.
makes you different from him?
Same thing, even more.
Okay.
I don't know what any kind of managerial experience he has. He's running a campaign based on issue orientation that does not include necessarily an assertion that he is best able to manage the city. And he speaks of housing and taxation and some of the issues that must be addressed. I'm going to allude to a commercial I heard, or a conversation I heard with Representative Bob Phillips talking about housing. And one of the things about housing is, with the Speaker of the House focusing and the governor focusing huge amounts of money towards housing in this state, it would be wonderful if Woonsocket could participate. But as the mayor, I will speak often and loudly about my objection if it's to bring housing into this city that, being affordable, would then enjoy a reduced tax cost to the detriment of the rest of the homeowners, many of whom, as I've met, are people who are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who are still living in their home and who are facing the burden of carrying the tax load for these wealthy developers who are running these apartment houses that are paying the 8%, or also carrying the burden of the fact that the Woonsocket Housing Authority pays only a small pilot to the city, while they have almost at least 10% of our student population coming out of that housing. And so the city ends up carrying the load for the taxes not paid by the Housing Authority, and it's well in excess of $2 million a year, that the rest of the taxpayers have to cover with their tax bill. And so that in and of itself are things that already strain the budgets of our tax-paying homeowner and apartment dweller residents that I think is fundamentally unfair in how the state operates. And to concentrate affordable housing in an urban community is not a bad thing, but then to punish the other taxpayers through this tax burden that they have to carry to subsidize that themselves instead of the state subsidizing it or the federal government subsidizing it is so fundamentally unfair that I would object loudly and often. And I would hope that whoever the state rep is, whether Bob Phillips or Garrett, and Senator Thompson, if he gets elected to that seat, and Murray will be there beside me talking about that at the State House to make sure that we don't get strapped with an unnecessary burden on our taxpayers.
All right, this segment of the Coffee and Program has been sponsored by the Friends of John Ward. John, you want to say a little 1-minute message before we go to break?
I mean, I'm going to do a commercial?
Yes.
Like Navigant does on
Like
Wednesday?
Navigant, that's right.
I don't even have one on my phone, except that I'll just remind you all that
you fit in modicum
that
of care?
campaigns do
No,
cost money.
continue.
And
Continuum of
I
care.
hate to do a monetary pitch, but campaigns do cost money, as I pointed out. I'm always looking to accept any kind of small donations if anyone would like to help with the campaign. We have a message to deliver. I have ideas I'd like to talk about in the next segment. About some small things in the future that I think would improve our quality of life here in the city that I think could be done easily. Some of the things that are going on. And so if you'd like to, go to my website, www, I guess people still throw in front of it, wardformayor.org. I have a website, and the donations can come in through there. You can gather information about me, or my Facebook page, John Ward for Mayor, on Facebook. And so thank you all for that and any help you can offer. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the polls, if you'll come out to vote, please.
All right. More with John Ward is coming your way. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240.
Hey, Red,
Who? Me?
your face is beet red and you look like you're gonna pass out.
Well, you know, I'm a little dizzy, but working outside in this heat, what are you gonna do?
You're in danger of heat exhaustion, my friend. And if you want to finish up this job today and get paid, you need to take a break in the shade and drink some water. Now, got it?
Yeah, but I gotta...
You gotta stay safe and healthy to stay on the job, right?
That's true.
A message from the Rhode Island Department of Health and the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association.
When you're thinking about a place to go out to eat with your family or the whole gang, or maybe something quieter for just the two of you, head over to ON Radio's website, wonsocketradio.com, and click on the restaurant guide. This gives you a listing of the best restaurants in the area. You can take a look at menus and possibly even make reservations. This is a great resource to see a bunch of restaurants all in one place. Remember, it's wonsocketradio.com and click on Restaurant Guide. And if you own a restaurant that's not already listed, call WOON Radio at 401-762-1240 for information on how your restaurant can be on the Restaurant Guide. Call Joe at 401-762-1240.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
It's Coffee In on ON. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards, John Ward. This segment is Coffee In, sponsored by the Friends of John Ward. John's running for mayor.
I am.
And by the way, John just made a little comment about fundraising. And I just want to tell everyone, I don't think it's out of line to say this, John, that these are paid
segments.
appearances.
Yes.
That John has had to, according to our rate card, and all the documentation is in public, has had to pay $110 just to be with us today. And so, $25 here, $30 there would be a help.
Adds up after a while.
I can't give it to him for nothing because it's impossible to sustain that. But that's our rate card. That's the lowest unit card rate for this appearance.
And the nice thing about it is that it doesn't do well for the stations that have to sell the time at their lowest rate available, but it does well for the fact that it creates a level playing field.
Yeah,
for all
everybody
the
gets
players.
the same rate.
Everybody pays the same rate.
Right.
Everybody that wants to buy the time. And I simply think it's important for me to talk about my experience and get the message out to people.
Right.
And so it doesn't happen for free.
it
I
can't.
have not put anything in the mail yet for people, but I will be. And each of those
citywide, radio's cheap compared to direct mail.
Citywide is about $7,000.
Yeah.
Just to put one of those cards in the mail that people have gotten with information about candidates and to do ads in the Valley Breeze.
See
was
the
not
difference
free.
between direct mail and radio
Yeah,
advertising?
direct mail is
I mean, radio advertising. I'll give you the whole city and throw in North Smithfield and Lincoln for free for $110, and it'll be $7,000.
So there is that.
In the
But
mailbox.
I want to talk about some interesting little things that I've noticed, and I want to say one thing. It was about, I think it was right after the last city council meeting. I was speaking with Director D'Agostino, and I said, for all of the paving and all of the road work we're doing in this city, could you please explain to me why it is we have not fixed the walkway between the two parking lots that are City Hall parking lots across the street from City Hall? And he said, well, we've talked about it. We just, never got around to doing it.
All right.
Well, they're about to do it.
All right.
So I guess I must have triggered something. So I'm told that they're going to be tearing up the sidewalk in between and taking out the trees and putting in a level sidewalk that is not a massive, massive trip hazard.
Cool.
Which was what really bothered me because I tripped a couple of times walking on that. And so that's one of the interesting little ones.
They're
Another
going to be
one.
working on Clinton Street this week, too.
Pardon me?
They're going to be working on Clinton Street.
Clinton's, yes. There is the bypass.
Yeah, that started.
Work
Yeah,
that's
boy,
being
they
done. I have
ripped
to
up a
tell you,
whole lot of the northbound lanes. of the
I
bypass.
tried to go down Main Street this morning.
Yes.
Coming back because I said I want to see what Main Street's looking like this morning, and so I was going to go to the post office to drop off some mail, and I went down Arnold Street and I looked to make the turn, and the cars were backed up to Arnold Street all the way.
No kidding.
Because all of the traffic that was not using the Truman Drive was coming down Main Street.
Of course.
And it was backed up the entire length of Main Street. So I took a right turn, went back on River Street, back up to High Street, over to Railroad Street,
Come down
and
Blackstone.
then skipped around Main Street to get to the post office that way.
Right.
And even that was jammed up at the corner at the depot.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, and I'm sure that if we brought that to Chief Tom Oates' attention, he'd send somebody out there with a stopwatch and a key for the box, and maybe change the cycle of the lights. That might help.
It might help. It might help. That's very possible.
Because I'm sure the timing of the lights have a lot to do with what the traffic used to be before it became a bypass for the bypass.
Yes. So, in any case, there is a couple of little things that have always troubled me. One of them was that walkway.
Can I get to the note?
I see this. Yeah.
What?
We'll talk about Clinton Street. That starts today.
About sidewalk and road repairs on Clinton Street area. The roadway will remain open during the repairs. Well, that's good. Probably predominantly sidewalk repairs.
Yeah,
there's a lot of sidewalks in the city that could use some help,
Yeah, I
and that's
imagine
one of them. So please, yes, absolutely, use caution when you're in the area.
But let me just suggest that John started saying a couple of little things. Let him say a couple of little things before we bring the note up, okay? So we don't get him sidetracked.
A couple of little things. When I was a young boy, a young lad, as it were, and my father used to drive us in a Buick station wagon, LeSabre, that we would refer to as the beach wagon, obviously.
The fake wood on the side?
Huh? No, there was no fake
No
wood.
fake wood on the side.
No, Ford's had the fake wood.
That's right.
But we lived in North Smithfield until I was 7. And every once in a while, coming back from places, we would stop at this overlook at Globe Park that sits up.
I remember that, yeah.
It's you
back
have to remember
Back
it.
in those days, there were no trees.
Bingo.
The tree, that whole side was clear cut. You could see the
Yes.
city driving near the city.
That's my point.
It's always
exactly.
bothered me that they let the trees grow up.
Same here. And I want to see those trees gone again. And I want to see
I
that
think I'd make a
cleared.
nicer park.
And now
Strategic
that they're
trees.
well,
leave
now-
strategic trees up, but not the
yeah, you might leave one or two trees. so that-
uncontrolled growth that we have now.
But that's bothered me because I remember the panoramic view of the entire Blackstone Valley that you could get from up
filled me
there.
with pride.
And it's there's the picnic tables up there, and there's the sign actually is horrible and needs to be replaced.
Wow.
But the point was you could go up on that overlook in the evening or during the day, and you could look over the entire Blackstone Valley from that vantage point. And to me, that made it a very special place in the city that was highly unusual and not normally something you would see. And
Something
we
like the
lost-
Hollywood Hills or the observatory looking out over Los Angeles.
We lost it because they just let the trees grow.
Yeah.
And I've asked about getting rid of the trees and sort of got a shrug of the shoulders back when the former mayor was in office because everything I suggested got a shrug of the shoulders and never happened. The other one is we received money from St. Joseph's Parish to put in misting stations that I had suggested for Dunn Park, because kids that live up that far from World War II Park don't often get the opportunity to go to the
Right.
splash pad down in World War II Park.
They have to stay in the neighborhood
of course,
during the day.
And of course, my idea, not the right person's idea, so it never happened, and it still hasn't happened. And I'm determined to put the money that was given to the city to good use by starting with Dunn Park, putting a misting station. And they're very durable stainless steel things. You push a button, and a mist comes out from up above for a few minutes just to cool you down, and then it shuts itself off. So it's not like it's a
Continuously running
waste
thing.
of water. It
Yeah.
doesn't keep pouring water out. It's just a timer type thing. Those are that's a little thing. Another one that I thought of walking the dog, and I'm starting to think about as maybe a good idea, and I don't know if it would work, but it's something I'd like to pursue, would be sometime next summer and fall to look at using River's Edge Park. If you go in there and you got the dog park that's been placed in there, and you got the concession stand sitting there doing nothing but being bathroom facility, and you got the soccer fields. But before you get to the dog park on the left side, there's 2 grass areas with parking near them, and very lengthy 125
Originally,
foot section.
that was the putting golf course, wasn't it?
Well, no, that's where the dog park is. That was
okay.
the,
All
the
right.
golf thing. But the thing that's missing from there is there was a cleared out area for a canoe or kayak launch for people to use that
Was
for
there?
some reason is like Globe Park became overgrown, and I don't see how you can have access to the river there anymore.
Okay.
I need to look into that. But the other part is in that long stretch before you get to the dog park, there's plenty of parking. There's plenty of space. It's interesting to me that we would not consider something like trying to attract a what's the word I'm thinking of? A farmer's market to come there in the summer and fall on weekends. To be in there just to attract people into that park area.
Yeah.
Because it's a beautiful park area,
Right.
and if it could find something to attract people
Very
into the city
quiet
and into
there.
it, it's very quiet, and I think it could be beneficial to some people who would like to get some fresh, wholesome meals and food. And another one is, we lost that grocery opportunity that was supposed to be a grocery opportunity because of the onerous federal grant restrictions and requirements. It doesn't mean that it's something that shouldn't be considered still, and I've always thought of it because I have a cousin out in Washington State, and that works with a food co-op out there, and where people volunteers and nonprofit type operation will come in and establish a food co-op where they will attract volunteers who will help stock shelves, and it will make a better quality food affordable in an area where it's necessary, what they call in the food deserts, which to me is a nominal term for what we have a problem with here. But to create an opportunity for something in the social flatlands that's going to be something other than those Dollar General stores, and be able to offer better quality fruits and vegetables and canned products and dry goods that are more affordable and more healthy than some of the processed foods that are available. Those are just a couple of ideas that
All right.
run through my head that cost very little to do, actually.
John,
Do we have time to address that
We do.
note that the caller called in?
766-1240 just says to John, is Cox Communication going to provide visual of the city council meeting again?
You mean live? Yes.
It doesn't say live, but I'm assuming that's what they mean.
They're looking for live, and we've approved signing of the contract. I know Paul Jacob has been working trying to communicate with Cox over exactly what's got to happen, and Mike O'Connell from Apex Technology. They're all working on this. I don't know what the holdup is. I get the impression it's more from Cox's end than it is from the city's end. On top of that, to add to that, the second floor conference room has now been cleared again so that the council can hold special meetings down there. And Mike O'Connell is going to be working to take the money that was set aside out of ARPA for technology to be added into that room for microphones and cameras so that we can actually be on a YouTube presence at least when we're doing meetings down there, and maybe do a hook in if you guys wanted to, if it was an important enough meeting and you wanted to broadcast it, maybe have a possibility set up to hook in the broadcast media. So there will be some media availability down on the second floor as we start our first special meeting, which will be on the 26th, I believe, of September. We'll be meeting with the members of the DEI committee, and it will be in that conference room on the second floor that's been restored.
Cool.
So maybe.
So
if Cox
maybe this next
moves
meeting, but
along.
I'll have to check with Paul Jacob and Michael
definite,
Connell. As a matter of fact, I'll check with them when I leave today, and I'll get back and send you an email to that effect so that you can let people know where it stands.
All right, John, we're coming to the end of the program. It's the end
We
of
are?
your end of your second segment, so you got a minute or so to.
Feels like it's only been a half
I
hour.
know it goes by pretty quick. So you got your message.
I
you are
don't-
coming back tomorrow, but give us one more message for today.
I'm coming back tomorrow.
Yes, you are.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
8:45 tomorrow.
Like you got nothing to do on
Yes, I
election
know.
day.
No, actually, I've got some signs to deliver. I've got people who are going to be at all the polling stations during the day at various times, and a lot of friends and family helping out. That's great. And I'd like for people who are interested in my campaign, if they'd like to help out, they can go on to my website and set up to be a member of the John Ward for Mayor team and give me information so I can communicate with them and they can help. And again, wardformayor.org, John Ward for Mayor on Facebook. And I look forward to tomorrow, and I hope people will support me to start sending the message right away that we need change in City Hall, and I can be the deliver that change that we need. Thank you very much for the time.
All right, John, thank you very much. Dave Richards, thanks for coming in today as well.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, my name's Joe Callahan. Have yourself
Leslie's in the house.
Yes, have yourself a great day. Stay tuned for At the Library with Leslie Page and Food First with Karen Zangari and Tiki Bar tonight at 6 here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. The beam and deck demolition of the Washington Bridge is underway.